Hey everybody, it's Lori Bradley here in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I am excited to show you today some designer series paper that is on sale. I do love a good sale, and the designer series paper from the annual catalog, not any of the online exclusives, but the annual catalog designer series paper is on sale 15% off. So the packages that are $12.50 here in the United States are $10.62. Kind of a random number. But anyway, we are going to get started. I'm back from vacation, and it was a little hard to get back to it, but here we are. I'm going to flip my camera around and get started. I've got 3 cards to show you that all feature the 3 different designer series papers that are on sale. So let's get started. Cards. Show them to you really quick. Get those situated. I have 3 different designer series papers. I'll pull up my laptop here so that I can see any comments for anybody. All right, so I have the Unbounded Love designer series paper, the Full of Life, and the Country Lace. So we're gonna start with the Full of Life, which is all kinds of bright colors, and we're going to use that as a focal point for our card this morning. Has bright colors. I'm always about the bright colors. This one is a 6x6 paper, and there are multiple patterns that you can choose from. Any of them would be great for a bright happy birthday card or a thinking of you. Or just a note, and I used the just a note today because I want that to be our center focal point. Okay, so I'm going to do mine a little different. This one I did in shades of green. The next one I'm going to do in the shades of blue, I think. I think I'm trying to decide between paper A and paper B, but I think I'm going to go with the blues and the purples on this one. So our panel here is 4 by 5 1/4 for the designer series paper, and so to make our 4 by 5 1/4 panel, and we want this circle to be right in the middle, so I'm going to cut 1 inch off of each side. And set that aside. So then we have a vertical 4 inch. Now, we could, to make it 3/4, 5 1/4, we could do 5 1/4 and cut it, but our focal point is not right in the center. So I'm going to take, and this is where people get a little crazy, I'm going to take 3/8 of an inch off of each end so that we have a full, like it's exactly in the center. So that gives us 4 by 5 1/4. And our focal point is right in the middle. You could take it off of one side and have your focal point a little higher or a little lower, but I wanted mine to be right in the center. So I'm going to put this onto a white panel so that it shows up a little better, and it has a little border. So we're going to use the liquid glue. I like to use the liquid glue on designer series paper because it has a little bit of wiggle room, because sometimes I don't get it straight. I did a tiny little border so it kind of mimicked the space between the colors on the paper. So we've got our panel. And then for this one, I'm going to use a blueberry bushel base because this one is more the blues and the purples. For this one, I used a shaded spruce base. Okay. This is super simple. You could do this with any designer series paper. You don't necessarily have to have the circle in the middle. We could use this one and do the exact same thing, and we would just have to cut 4 by 5 1/4, and whatever color happens to be the color would be the color that we did. So any patterned paper can be a card front. I always like to let the paper do the work for me so that I'm not having to do all that. All right. And And since it's centered, it doesn't matter which direction it goes. So it looks like a starburst. That's pretty easy. Now, I have these scraps, and I have the scraps, and I'm going to actually, I have a white panel for the inside because when you have a blue card like this, it's very, very hard to see the writing. So I'm going to just take my 1-inch scrap from that side, and I'm going to glue it up the side. It's not exactly the same if we do it, but it's going to be pretty close. So I'm going to start at the bottom, which is this end, and I'm going to glue up from there and then just trim it. And it just adds a little bit to the inside. Sometimes we don't know what to do with those extra pieces, and so we have scraps galore. And then I'll just flip that over and trim right along the end. There we go. And then we'll put this piece on the inside. Yesterday, if you missed it, I did my unboxing video of my new holiday catalog things that I ordered. It was mostly designer series paper and embellishments, and I need to sit down with the catalog and order the rest of the things that I want, but I have to pace myself. When I ordered my stuff, I was on vacation last week, and I didn't have the actual catalog in front of me, so I didn't get too crazy. I have used the, oh man, what are these called? They're not right here. Right, I have dies, here we go. The Everyday Details dies. I've cut that, and I'm using for this one the Simply Said stamp set, and this Just a Note fits perfectly in that circle. You could use the Hello or the Miss You also, but I'm going to do Just a Note, and I'm going to do that in Blueberry Bushel. Right in the middle. And then I'm going to scoot it closer to me so I can see it. Sorry. There we go. And simple, easy peasy. Now you have a card. If it was for a lady, I might put a ribbon, might put some sparkles, and I could always come back and add those later, but I'm just going to put those on here with dimensionals. Put those around. I have the mini ones handy, so I'm going to use a couple more than I usually would. There we go. And just put that in the front. And we have a simple, cute, Just a Note card that you could have handy in case you need to send it. And then I can't move the front, but the blue down the side mimics the starburst pattern, or sunburst. All right, card number 1. So that's just a simple, in the front, all over your card front, designer series paper. For the next one, I'm going to use the Unbounded Love, and I'm using the stamp set and the dies for this one. This is the words, and then the die is included in those die sets, just so you know what I'm using. And for that one, I used Petunia Pop card base, but I think I'm going to switch it up for this one, and I'm going to use the Summer Splash, and we'll see how that works out. See how it looks different. All right, so I have a 4 by 5 1/4 panel of designer series paper, and I have a 4 by 5 1/4 panel of cardstock. And the reason for that is that when I did this one, it's popped up on dimensional so that the ribbon wraps around, and if I just have the designer series paper, I can't do that. So I have a base, I have my card base, and then I have the 4 by 5 1/4 base that we're going to use to glue our designer series paper on. So what we're going to do is this is a 4-inch panel, we're going to cut it at 2. We're going to cut it in half in 2 pieces horizontally. So I have 2 pieces like this. Now I'm going to put those on top of each other. Your paper trimmer should cut 2 pieces of designer series paper. For this one, I cut it at 1 3/4. You could do it at 2, and an eighth to make it even. You can do that however you want. Every card could look a little bit different, but I'm going to cut mine at 1 3/4. So these are lined up, and I have them. I'm going to put them at 1 3/4, and I'm going to cut there, and that's going to give me 4 pieces. All right, so I have. I'm going to flip it like this, and I'm going to have this one, and then I'm going to have this one. So they're going to look like this, and we're going to glue those directly onto our Summer Splash base right here. That way you can line them up as well. Just start at one edge, line it up in the corner, and put it down. And then you can do you can go top to bottom, you can go right to left, whatever makes it easier for you. Just line them up as you go, starting in the corners. And again, that's one reason why I use the liquid glue, because it makes it easier for me. And then our flower pattern up on the top. There we go. And if you don't get it lined up exactly, it's okay. Probably no one will notice, but I'm going to show you a little trick. We're going to cover up that seam going across the middle. So we have, looks a little bit like a patchwork quilt. It was one piece of paper, just 2 simple cuts, and then it looks completely different than if we had used just the whole floral panel. So then we are going to cut the ribbon. I'm not seeing on my table here. I think I actually put it away. Give me 1 second. No, I did not. Oh, I covered it up in my catalog. Goodness gracious. All right, so let's go with the Summer Splash this time. I used Petunia Pop last time. So it'll be the exact same type of card, but it'll be a little different. So since you have this long seam right here, we're going to cover that up with our ribbon. So then you won't even see that. So I'm going to wrap my ribbon around. I'm going to tie a bow. Hopefully it works out for us. So then I'm going to scoot to one side. Tie it. Notice I still have it on my roll so that I can trim it where I need to, and I don't waste too much. It's still attached because, yeah, you all know me. All right, trim that ribbon there. Trim this tail. We have our ribbon ready, so then we can go ahead and put the dimensionals on the back of this one. Since it's a bigger panel, I'm going to use the bigger dimensionals. You can do so many things with designer series paper, and I love that it's on sale. So I also have my monthly promotion that if you spend $50 in my online store, you receive a free fun fold class, and I do that via Zoom once a month. So in August, if you spend in August, your class will be in September. It's always at the beginning, middle of the next month, so I have time to send out the pieces. You receive the pieces for 3 cards. It's the same fun fold, just done 3 ways. All right, so we have our ribbon. So if you, it's automatic. You don't have to call me. You don't have to tell me. I automatically send that to you, and it's yours. Okay. Now, for my white piece, there we go. I am going to go ahead and use the Petunia Pop ink for this one because I think that the color will stand out a little more. I do love these in colors. The Summer Splash is probably my favorite, but I don't dislike any of them this year. So that's a bonus. Yesterday when I did my unboxing video, I said I actually bought something that I didn't really care for, and one of my ladies was like, why would you do that? And sometimes I try to keep an open mind about the things that I show. Sometimes it's things I like, sometimes it's things that I don't like, but I know that, you know, someone else will like. So I have to keep that in mind when I do it. So I try to order some things. There's a percentage, and I don't remember what that percentage is, but 50% of what you like, 25% that you don't like, and 25% that you really, really don't like. So I try to keep that in mind and not order too much extra stuff. But all right, I'm not going to decorate these with the bling right now, but you can see it's the same card. Looks a little bit different because of the card base and the ribbon, but it's super simple, and it's a 10-minute thing once you've got your paper cut. All right, now the last one is a little more, it's not complicated by any means, but it is a few more steps, and I did the steps, part of them already for you. The Country Lace, the Country Woods, both of those are two of my favorite designer series papers. And my white paper. I love the Petal Pink and the Misty Moonlight together. I think that's one of my favorite color combinations. So I have my 4 1/4 by 11 card base. Yesterday I folded my paper incorrectly. When you have your paper and it's already scored, you want to score into that fold line. My friend Sue says, don't go into the ditch. So you don't want to go that way. You don't want to go this way. You want to go the same way as the hump. All right, so we've got our card base folded in half. And then we're going to have our Misty Moonlight. I'm not going to put those papers together yet. But then I took the hexagon punch, the heartfelt hexagon punch, and I punched out some of the designer series paper. And I did a couple of the different patterns. This was actually left from my sample. It's the other end of this where I trimmed it off. So we're going to attach those, and then we're going to stamp our words. And sometimes I like to put my words on first, but I have to grab a piece of white paper. All right. So we're going to stamp the outline, and I'm using the heartfelt hexagon stamp set also. I'm going to stamp our words, and this stamp set has a really cute little dotted outline. So I'm going to stamp that in Petal Pink. Right at the top. It's just cute little polka dots. Again, always a fan of polka dots around here. And then in Misty Moonlight, I'm going to stamp the sentiment right in the middle. Move that closer so I can line it up. There we go. And then we'll just punch that out. And I did this yesterday. I got a little blue, not sure what I did. I think it's on my stamp. Punch that out. And all my hexagons are the same. And we're just going to line this up. I'm going to start with my sentiment, wherever you want to put that. And then probably do this one since it's already cut. I'll go ahead and put that one here so it's like that. And then a blue. Another blue. You can use whatever patterns that you want, and they're going to go off the edge. So this is why you don't want to glue the white piece onto the panel yet, because we're going to use scissors and we're going to cut that off. So I'm going to go ahead, and you can use whatever patterns that you want. This one I just happened to pick the blue and the pink, and you could do all the same patterns. They could be different. The great colors of the other one would be super for this one. Blue. Just line that up. too far over because then you'll get it all over your scissors when you trim it. You might ask me how I know that. Wait, excuse me, I gotta lift this up so I can actually see to line it up. This one I'm going to put on dimensionals right here in the spot where I saved it. Scoot that over. That's what happens when you can't see straight. We're going to go ahead and put our piece here with dimensionals. Stuck together, no, stick. I have a little glue on my finger. Right. So you could use any punch that you have. You could punch your designer series paper and make patterns with that. You could use circles. Circles would be great in this particular pattern or in a different pattern. Overlap your circles. Designer series paper is so versatile. So now's the time to stock up on that. Then we'll put our last piece on, and that way I can see where to actually put it down. Put that piece there. Alright, so now we have some little wings hanging off of the side. So I'm going to flip those over, and I'm just going to trim those off right along the edge of that white panel. And if they're big, you could keep those to use. If my card base was white, I'll show you what I did with my extra pieces on the last one I made. I copied this off of one of my cards that I'd done before, but it looks different when it's different paper. Alright, so we have our, I'm not sure what this little piece right here is. It needs to go. Alright, so we have our paper and it's ready, and then we'll just put that down with regular adhesive. Put that on. Attach this to the panel, to the card base. And it goes right on the front. You could do this with dimensionals, you could do it flat, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to do it flat today. Then you can embellish it with ribbon or gems. But the original one that I made was a white card base, and we used, this was, I believe, the B paper in the Spring Mini. And we put our extra pieces that we cut off the edges onto the inside of the card. So if I had a white panel on the inside, I could do that as well. But that's just another idea to decorate the inside of your card. You could do one of those on your envelope. You could do it on the front, on the back. So here are our 3 cards today. They all used the designer series paper a little differently. And again, when you use the different color paper, it looks just a little bit different. They're the same exact thing, easy to do. They just look different. So anyway, if you purchase $50 in my online store, $35, I will send you these card kits, and you can make them on your own. Or if you spend $50, you'll get the card kits, and you will also get the free Fun Fold class. And I'll include the shopping link for that. If you have bonus days coupons, you can use your $5 coupon on your order and get the class and a bonus, and everybody is happy. So anyway, thank you for joining me. If you don't have a new holiday mini catalog, if you're one of my regular customers, you should have received that should receive that in the mail, or you will you'll be getting it from me in person, but I'll just show you the front cover. I can't show you the inside yet because it's not live, but there's some great stuff in here. So if you need a catalog, send me a message or comment on the video, and I'll get your address, and I will send you a new catalog, and you can get shopping for your holiday crafting items. So have a great day. I will see you next Tuesday at 11:30. Thank you for bearing with me as I had to move forward a little bit today since I have another appointment. So have a great day. I'll see you next week.